The pick is in.
And the Buffalo Sabres have made a selection in the 2024 NHL Draft. I'm Gil Martin, and we are joined by Joe DiBiase from Locked On Sabres to break down Buffalo's selection of Konsta Helenius with the number 14 pick presented by Indeed. There is no I in team, but there is one in Indeed, and that's the hiring platform you need to build yours. To upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/lockedon. So, Joe, what does Helenius bring to the Buffalo Sabres?
He brings something that they don't have a lot of, and that is something they've talked about this offseason, which is being tough to play against. And despite the fact that some Sabre fans might not like the size of this player because there are a lot of smaller prospects already in their pool, 5'11", 6 foot, depending where you look for Helenius. But everywhere you look, he's described as someone that is tough to play against, a nightmare for opponents, someone that'll make you mad after the whistle and a run through you before the whistle. So a two-way centerman that's got a lot of skill, and that tough to play against element, I think the Sabres were absolutely looking for, and I think they have it in Konsta Helenius.
When do you think he'll be coming to North America?
I think at least 2 years. I wouldn't say more than that, though. They've had a couple picks that have taken more than that, longer than that. Him playing in the Finnish Liga, playing against men, having experience on that front already. And by the way, a lot of the data sites love him because he actually did great for an 18-year-old against men. So I think it would be possible that 1 year of development and then maybe he gets a shot for the Sabres on their roster. I think what's more likely is 2 years of development than the NHL club. But I think 1 year is more likely than 3 years.
And is there one aspect of his game that he needs to work on most between now and the time he reaches the NHL?
Yeah, looking at his game, I think some of the speed and the skill in general, I think that's something, though, that it might be tough to evaluate because, again, the point about him playing against men, you're the smallest guy out there. You're the most immature guy out there. And maybe as he develops and grows into his body a little bit more, that will come more naturally. He did put up some decent points again for his age. We're just waiting to see what he can do, how much ceiling there is offensively. So I don't have any qualms, any worries about him in his own end. Face-offs, being a two-way centerman, and again, being hard to play against, I think is not a question for him. It's just what's the offensive ceiling for him. But I think it's too early to tell on what that might be.
And what's the biggest need left now for the Buffalo Sabres in this draft?
Absolutely right shot defenseman. I like the idea of Adam Juracek in this draft because you don't always want to draft for need, but if you were going to draft for need, the Sabres have no right shot defenseman in their pipeline, not in the NHL club really, or not below the NHL club. So that is absolutely their next need. It's a lot of teams' needs, though. They're rare these days. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they look for that in rounds 2 and 3.
All right. Well, for more on the Sabres, subscribe to Locked On Sabres on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. And for more on Konsta Helenius, let's get an inside look at his path to the NHL.
Is Konsta Helenius the smartest player eligible for the 2024 NHL Draft class? My name is Sebastian High from Locked On NHL Prospects, ready to give you a breakdown. Helenius is a 5'11", 190-pound left shot centerman who played last season with Jukurit in Liga, which is Finland's professional league, and he scored 36 points in just 51 games. The best production we've seen out of that league from a draft eligible since Capo Kakko. But what makes him so valuable as a prospect is the refinement in his game. He's a tremendous two-way player. He's so intelligent. He connects play and elevates the line mates he plays with on the ice. He's a really good playmaker, but he's more than anything a facilitator and a distributor. Look for him to become a David Krejci mold of player who elevates a top six despite not being the primary point getter on the team. For all things NHL prospects and more on Konsta Helenius, make sure to follow us at Locked On NHL Prospects on YouTube or wherever you find your podcasts.
And for continuing coverage of the 2024 NHL Draft, subscribe to Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.